Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video today. And today, the Texas Longhorns beat Alabama 34-24 as ranked 11 Texas Longhorns beat number 3 Alabama in Alabama 34-24. 21 points for the Texas Longhorns in the fourth quarter, outscoring Alabama 21-8. This defense was great today with 2 interceptions. And just an unbelievable day for this defense, stopping Alabama multiple times in the fourth quarter. And this was a great game from our Texas Longhorns. All right, everybody, you ready? Hook 'em. I mean, man, what a good game by our Longhorns tonight. I'm just with a lot of excitement right now. I mean, this is the biggest Texas Longhorns win I've ever seen. I've been watching Longhorns football since 2016 or 2017. And in my opinion, this is the biggest win I've witnessed from these Texas Longhorns. And I think this will maybe potentially continue to an amazing year for these Longhorns. They should jump into they will jump into the top 5. I don't think it's the big question of jumping in the top if you jump in the top 5. I think you definitely jump in the top 5. I think the big question is, do you jump in the top 4 with this win? I mean, I don't think anything changes in the top 2. I think Georgia stays at 1. I think Michigan stays at 2. I don't know if we deserve to be over Florida State. I think they deserve to be the 3. I love the Longhorns. They played a great game today. But honestly, I feel like Florida State's not only a better team than Alabama, but I think they're better than Texas too. They're a great team. They beat LSU last week. They looked really good. Their quarterback looks good. Their defense looked great. They're a really underrated team. I think Florida State deserves to be number 3 in the country. And I think right next to them at number 4 should be the Texas Longhorns. And then at 5 will probably be USC. 5 is gonna either be USC or Ohio State. And then if 5 is USC, 6 is gonna be Ohio State. And if 5 is Ohio State, 6 is gonna be USC. It doesn't really matter because they're pretty equal though at that 5 and 6 spot between USC and Ohio State. But what a win for these Texas Longhorns. Let's get into the game as Texas wins 34-24. Let's start with the scoring summary as Texas started first. Getting before the fourth quarter started, you saw 4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and these 4 touchdowns all happened in a matter of 6 minutes from each other. This was a low-scoring game. Going into the fourth quarter, this was a 13-16 ball game. Alabama was leading it. There was only a total of 19 points in the first half. It was a low-scoring game last year when these two teams met up. It was 20-19 was the final score, and there was only 39 points in the total ball game. So early, going into the fourth quarter, to me, it felt like it was going to be a repeat of what it was last year. But Texas offense and defense both got hot in this fourth quarter, and Texas was able to pull out the win. So first quarter, Bert Auburn makes a 22-yard field goal. It's 3-0, and that was the only score in the first quarter. It's 3-0 going into the second. But then Will Richard would make a 42-yard field goal to tie the ballgame up at 3. But then the deep pass finally works for these Texas Longhorns as Quinn Ewers throws his first of 3 touchdown passes, a 44-yard touchdown pass to Xavier Worthy, and it's 10-3 in favor of the Texas Longhorns. And then Bert Auburn makes a 29-yard field goal with 4 minutes remaining. The lead is 10. But then Will Richard makes a 30-yard field goal. It's 13-6. Then he makes another field goal to start the third quarter with 11 minutes remaining. This one's from 51, and it's 13-9. Then Jalen Milroe throws a 49-yard touchdown pass to Jermaine Burton. Alabama takes their first lead of the ballgame with the field goal, with the extra point being good for Richard, and it's 16-13. But this is where Texas takes over and doesn't look back. Quinn Ewers throws a 7-yard touchdown pass to Donnie Mitchell, which started this drive with a huge connection to tight end Jatavion Sanders, and connects with the Donnie Mitchell, who had a total of 2 touchdowns in this ball game, both in the fourth quarter. Then Texas gets an interception in the fourth quarter and gets them inside the 10-yard line, and they finish the drive with a Jonathan Brooks 5-yard touchdown run. Bert Auburn makes the extra point. It's 27-16. But then Alabama fights back when Jalen Milroe throws a 39-yard touchdown pass to Mari Niblack, and Jalen Milroe throws a pass to Isaiah Bond for the 2-point conversion. So now it's a 3-point game. Texas is feeling the pressure here, and Quinn Ewers, who it felt like it was calm this whole game. He managed this game very well. I mean, there wasn't one time in this game that he didn't feel like he was nervous at any point of this ball game when he was on the field for Texas on offense. And that's where Texas extends their lead back to 10 when Quinn Ewers throws a 39-yard touchdown pass to Donnie Mitchell for Mitchell's second touchdown. I mean, he had a touchdown against Alabama in the national championship in the 2021 national championship. He does it again here. He was big in that national championship or it was the 2022 national championship, my bad, against Alabama. He scored the game lead, the touchdown for Georgia that gave them the lead, and Donnie Mitchell with a great touchdown to give Texas the 10-point lead, and then eventually Texas stops Alabama on a 3-and-out. Great defense by Texas. Texas gets the ball with about, I think, 7 minutes remaining. It was 6 or 5 minutes remaining. Texas was able to run the clock out by getting a couple of first downs. And Texas then, after 2 minutes were over, Texas took their knee formation and won this ball game. Our game leader is Quinn Ewers. What a day for him. Just off of this performance, he's already his Heisman stock right now is rising. He threw 24 for 38 with 350 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns, while Jalen Milroe, Texas had him dealt today. I mean, they had him figured out in the pass game. It was very hard to deal with him in the run game, but Texas figured that out and eventually was able to deal with it in the second half. Threw 14 for 27, 255 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Rushing yards, Jonathan Brooks led the Longhorns in rushing yards with 14 carries, 57 rushing yards, and 1 rushing touchdown. Jonathan Brooks was great in this game. He had that big play on the fumble. It was the muff ball where Texas went for it on 4th and 1, and Quinn Ewers dropped it on 4th and 1 on the QB sneak, and then Brooks picked it up and got another 3 yards or something. Big play by Jonathan Brooks. And then their leader in rushing yards was McLean with 12 carries and 45 rushing yards, while tight end Travion Sanders was the leader in receiving yards for Texas with 5 receptions and 114 receiving yards, while Pretis was the leader in receiving yards for Alabama with 5 receptions and 68 receiving yards. All right, some other stats for Texas. Jonathan Brooks was the leader in rushing yards for Texas, but C.J. Baxter had a really solid game for Texas as well with 11 carries and 31 rushing yards. Ewers had 3 carries for 11 rushing yards as well with a big 11-yard gain. Other receiving besides Jatavion Sanders with 114 receiving yards, Donnie Mitchell had an amazing game for Texas with 3 receptions, 78 receiving yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns, while Xavier Worthy was just as good with 5 receptions, 75 receiving yards, and 1 receiving touchdown. And Jordan Whittington had 3 receptions for 44 receiving yards, and C.J. Baxter had 4 receptions for 21 receiving yards. Fumbles, Donnie Mitchell did fumble in this game, but he did not lose it, and so did Quinn Ewers, and that was the play where Jonathan Brooks picked it up, and Texas didn't lose any of their fumbles, and you were able to see Texas have a clean football game. No interceptions, no fumbles lost, and Alabama didn't recover any fumbles at all. Or they didn't fumble, even on offense. Leader in tackles for Texans was Jalen Cattleton, who had 1 tackle for loss. I believe I was thinking of someone else who had an interception. Texas had 5 sacks in this ballgame. 2 sacks for Anthony Hill Jr., 1 sack for David Jabenda, and 1 sack for Ethan Burke. There was a couple other sacks on that defense and multiple interceptions. Jerron Thompson had a huge interception for Texas with an interception that he returned for 30 yards, and Jahdae Barron had an interception for 16 yards. What a win for these Texas Longhorns. Expect Texas to definitely jump in the top 5 with this win over Alabama and possibly jump in the top 4. I think you will see either Texas in the new top 25. You will either see the Longhorns at number 4 or 5, and I'm thinking it's going to be number 4. You guys let me know your thoughts on the win for the Longhorns. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Hook 'em. Let's go Horns.